What up, everybody? Thank you for once again checking out the channel. Please, before I begin, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. Helps me grow the channel. We are here to discuss Mark Fletcher's appearance on the Momentum podcast. Now, this is not the first time we had one of our boys featured on that podcast as a guest. Of course, we all remember just a few months back, Ja'Carri Brown, former Miami quarterback, was on that show. Apparently raised some controversy over a couple of things he said over the acquisition of Cam Ward and all that stuff. We all know that drama. I am personally in the camp of I don't think he said anything that wild or that controversial, but of course that's all in the past. Some might disagree, but anyway, we're here to talk about Mark Fletcher's appearance yesterday. So his appearance definitely didn't have anything that you could pick apart or look at as controversial. I think it was universally liked and appreciated by all CANES fans across the board. He's had great things to say about certain teammates. He shouted out guys like Elijah Lofton and Isaiah Horton and a couple other guys on offense. He also specifically they focused a good portion of the episode talking about Damian Martinez and the team going out and recruiting him, bringing him in as a transfer. And actually, Mark Fletcher, not only not shying away from competition and wanting him here, he actually sought him out. He actually communicated with him and told him, "Hey, I need you down here." And that to me shows not only that he's not afraid of the competition, that shows me that he understands that this is going to be a team effort for us to win. It's going to take a two-headed monster or a three-headed monster at running back. It's not a one-man show. And he understands that. Being a sophomore, I think he also understands that having a veteran that, he can follow in his footsteps. And, if Damian Martinez has a great year, he goes to the draft, he's the next guy in line to take that torch. So a lot of the things he said I really liked. He used "we" a lot, kind of that team first mentality. And also he mentioned when funny part of the show when he mentioned that Cormani McClain had committed to Florida. He had that tweet that he reposted the tweet and he goes like, yes, almost saying like, hey, I can't wait to play against him. And he told a story that Coach Cristobal within minutes asked him to take it down. He's like, we don't want any distractions. So that was, another cool thing I liked, that Mario Cristobal, we know this about him already. He's very no nonsense, doesn't want any distractions heading into the Florida game. And it seems like the team, because I've heard this not just from Mark Fletcher on this podcast episode, but also from other guys that have been interviewed. And, Jaden Harris had a chance to interview him a while back, so I asked him about this. It's like they're not really thinking about the Florida game. I mean, I'm sure it's on their minds because it is the first game. It's a rivalry, but they're taking a very business-like approach. And that was highlighted in this podcast episode, that really they're just preparing and getting as best shape as they can and grinding as much as they can, just putting in the work right now, which is what you should be focused on in the offseason, just getting in, getting healthy and just preparing as best they can. And they're not really going to start preparing for Florida until that time comes, probably like a week or two before, when you have to start game planning, because right now is the off season, strength and conditioning and all that. Then you have, your summer workouts, and then you have fall camp, which starts sometime in early August. Towards the end of fall camp is really when they start actually preparing for that first game. So a lot of good things. I liked hearing on this podcast episode, but most of all, it's that, Mark Fletcher definitely has that attitude that I think Mario Cristobal envisioned in his mind when he took this job a couple of years ago. More than 2 years ago now, actually. He envisioned having a roster full of guys like Mark Fletcher that are very selfless, team first. Hey, we're no distractions. We're going to, be as mature as possible. And just and not shy away from, if the team's gonna go out and get a potential game changing kind of player, and it's at your position group, hey, welcome it. Welcome the competition, because that's how it was in the old days. Back when Mario was a player and was a grad assistant here in Miami, during the glory years, and no one shied away from competition. Competition makes everybody better. So that was good to hear. And, hopefully we hear a lot more of that in the coming years from not just Mark Fletcher, but from the rest of the guys on the team. And one more thing I really liked hearing, that he wasn't just involved in trying to get Damian Martinez here. He was involved in trying to get other guys. They actually mentioned Jeremiah Smith at one point, talking about him, and Mark Fletcher kind of mentioned that, yeah, man, I tried. I would have loved to have had him down here. All of us would have, but he basically said, I think these were his exact words, that, man, if you're a dog, I want you here. I want to make Miami great again. So all good things. Yeah. So just if you haven't listened to it yet, Momentum Podcast, go check it out. I think he was on for like an hour. It was a cool listen. But anyways, guys, have a good night. Go Canes.